Okay. Let's see. We're in session in cause number 328-828, case of style, State of Texas versus Xavier Ozan. Do you say Xavier or Xavier? Xavier Ozan.
Yes,
How you doing, Mr. Ozan?
how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Mr. Ozan, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Ozan, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Okay, you may put your hand down. Now, Mr. Ozan, you have a right to have a record, which with that, what I mean by that is you have a right to have a court reporter to dictate everything that is being said in court. You also have a right to waive, which means to give up your right to have a record, and then we could do the hearing without the court reporter. Do you waive your record?
Repeat.
Okay. You have a right to have the court reporter type everything that is being said, okay, in the case. You also have a right to waive, which means waive your right, means to give up your right to have a record and just have your case without a court report. Do you waive your record? Yes? Okay, you have to speak up.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Mr. Ozan, I have before me an information that alleges that on or about November 8th of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of failure to identify a fictitious name. Mr. Ozan, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Ozan, how did you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Guilty. Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily? Is somebody forcing you to plead guilty, or are you doing it of your own free will?
Mhm.
Your own free will, all right. Now, Mr. Ozan, I have before me misdemeanor plea admonishment, also labeled as Stacy. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And on page 2 of this same document, Mr. Ozan, there are a set of initials, XO. One is on a line next to a box that says check guilty. Are these your initials?
Yes, sir.
The next one is on a line that's below a paragraph that is titled Discovery Admonishment. And it says, I wish to waive my right to discovery. What it says? Yeah. I do not request discovery of the evidence, and I waive my right to discovery in this case and enter a plea of guilty and no contest. Are these your initials?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of the same document, Mr. Ozan, there's a signature above the line that's titled Defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document that's titled Trial Court Certification to Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature above the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that are checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The second box states that you're waiving your right to an appeal. Do you understand that? Now, Mr. Ozan, also, I have 2 other documents here on paper. The first document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without an Attorney. Do you recognize this document?
Yes,
Mr. Ozan, is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
yes, sir.
And are these your initials says, I waive my right to an attorney and I desire to represent myself? And I have another document here that is titled Waiver of Counsel for Purposes of Entering a Guilty Plea or Proceeding to Trial. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature above the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Ozan, I have before me these documents that you've just signed, that I've just mentioned that you signed an initial. Did you read these documents?
Yes, sir.
And did you understand what you read?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Ozan, the state is offering State's Exhibit number 1 to be used as evidence against you in your case. Now, State's Exhibit number 1 is the first document that you acknowledge. And it's also the same document that have your initials on page 2. and your signature on page 3. The state would like to use this document as evidence in your case. Is it all right for the state to use this document as evidence in your case? Yes, sir. Okay. No objections. State's exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Ozan, is there any evidence that you are currently mentally incompetent to stand trial? Do you have any mental problems?
No, sir.
Okay. You understand what's going on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And, okay. Mr. Ozan, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of guilty and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
6 months deferred adjudicated probation.
Okay.
$150 fine, 20 hours community service. And the state also has agreed to reject the September 18th, 2021 trespassing case that has not been filed yet. We've received.
Okay. Ms. Ozan, the state is offering that you serve 6 months of deferred or unadjudicated probation. During this probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $150 plus court costs, and the total fine and the court cost is $502. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month, and your total monthly installments is $175 per month. Mr. Ozan, will you be able to pay the $175 per month?
Yes, sir.
You'll also be required to perform 20 hours of community service. The state will reject a trespassing misdemeanor case that occurred on or about September 18th of 2021. You will also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of probation. Mr. Ozan, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
What you say?
Do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ozan, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Now, Mr. Ozan, if you successfully complete the probationary period, this case will be dismissed. It would not appear on your record as a conviction, and you may qualify for a non-disclosure. Mr. Ozan, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, Mr. Ozan, as I said earlier, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you've entered into with the state. And Mr. Ozan, again, if you successfully complete the probationary period, this case will be dismissed, and you may qualify for non-disclosure. And you can, if you need any help with that, you can talk to an attorney who may be competent in the area of non-disclosures.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Ozan, you can stand on the X in front of our court clerk. And once you finish right here, the first X, once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Good, good.
All right, thank you.
Right thumb in that blue square. Okay. And on the black box right there, if you'll sign your name, you won't be able to see it. And raise your right hand. Do you swear that you've never before been given deferred adjudication or regular probation for a felony or misdemeanor in this or any other state? And you further swear nothing else is continued? Okay. So the directions to probation are here on the top. You need to go there this morning. They close in about 45 minutes for lunch, so you probably get there
All right, you have a blessed day.
She didn't have.
No, you get a pass. Okay, this will conclude the calling of the arraignment docket, County Court at Law number 2. Well, before we do that, we may have some bond forfeitures. Let's see, page 1. Page 2. Okay. Let's see, we got Falk, page 2. Page 3. Is that Chavez and Higgins? Do you have any information on Higgins?
She received the notice.
Okay. Okay, Chavez. Yeah, she said that she received notice. And she bought this in jail. Okay, what about Samantha Jones?
She,
Here
her
about-
letter was returned, but I found a better address, so I asked them to change it to resend.
So it's gonna be reset?
Yes.
Okay, no notice. Okay. Okay. So, okay, let's start off with Falk. We're in session in cause number 330412, case of style of State of Texas versus Kendall Falk. Kendall Falk was scheduled to be in court this morning for the court's arraignment docket, which was scheduled at 9 a.m. on today's date of October 5th of 2021. At or about 9 a.m., the court's bailiff called the name of Kendall Falk at the courthouse door, and Kendall Falk did not answer. Kendall Falk has not appeared in court since the court's been in session. The time now is 11:19 on today's date. Mr. Bailey, would you please call the name of Kendall Falk? Kendall Falk's name was called at the courthouse door by the court's bailiff. Kendall Falk did not answer. A reasonable time has passed to give Kendall Falk an opportunity to appear in court. State, do you have a motion?
Yes, Your Honor, state would move for a bond forfeiture.
That motion will be granted. Warrant will be issued for the rest of Kendall Falk, and Kendall Falk's bond shall be forfeited in cause number 330412. Court's in session in cause number 330546. Case is style of State of Texas versus Ernan Chavez. Ernan Chavez scheduled to be in court this morning for the court's arraignment docket at 9 a.m. At or about 9 a.m., the court's bailiff called Ernan Chavez name, and Ernan Chavez did not answer at the courthouse door. Ernan Chavez has not appeared in court since the court's been in session. The time now is 11:20 a.m. on today's date. Mr. Bailiff, would you please call the name of Ernan Chavez? Ernan Chavez, name was just called at the courthouse door. Ernan Chavez did not answer. A reasonable time has passed to give Mr. Chavez an opportunity to appear in court. He has not appeared in court. State, do you have a motion?
Yes, Your Honor, the state would move for bond forfeiture.
That motion will be granted. Warrant shall be issued for arrest in cause number 330546, and Ernan Chavez bond will be forfeited. Court is now in session in cause number 330558, State of Texas versus Raina Graham Higgins. Raina Higgins was scheduled to be in court this morning for the court's arraignment docket at 9 a.m. At or about 9 a.m., the court's bailiff called Raina Higgins' name at the courthouse door. Raina Higgins did not answer. Raina Higgins has not appeared in court since the court's been in session. The time now is 11:21 a.m. Mr. Bailiff, would you please call the name of Raina Higgins?
Raina Higgins. No response.
Raina Higgins' name was just called at the courthouse door. Raina Higgins did not answer when the bailiff called her name. And a reasonable time has passed to give Raina Higgins an opportunity to appear in court, and Raina Higgins has not appeared in court. State, do you have a motion?
Yes, Your Honor, state would move for a bond forfeiture.
That motion will be granted in cause number 330-558. And a warrant shall be issued for the arrest of Raina Higgins, and Raina Higgins' bond shall be forfeited. This will conclude the calling of the court's arraignment docket, which was scheduled at 9 a.m. on today's date, October 5th of 2021. In County Court at Law Number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, Judge Terrence L. Holmes presiding.